And that was new. And so when they understood that core idea, that was the aha moment for our company, because they played back something to me that I was not expecting. They played back, we don't think our clients want to use Bitcoin at the point of sale. We're not getting asked by our, customers to hold this in their portfolios. But if you could make a security move between our back office and the bank's broker dealer, the way this moves, we want to talk to you. Or if you can make a credit card payment go through without it costing 3% for the merchant and take 2 days to actually hit the bank account, we want to talk to you. Or if you can make a cross-border payment as obsolete as a cross-border email, which doesn't make sense because we never, it doesn't even conceive of that, right?
Of what borders an email is
What is
crossing.
a border? What is a border? So that's what they played back, and that really set us on the path to what we do now.
2025 is fast approaching. By the end of 2025, initial regulation on cryptocurrencies and asset custody is expected to go into effect. With it will come the initial clarity on which crypto projects have been building something of sustenance and which ones have just been feasting on the funds of unknowing communities. You are now tuned in to ShookFocuz, and it is time.
Previously on ShookFocuz.
He said, where did I see Fidelity before? Where did I see Fidelity before? And it hit me. I knew where I saw it. It was over here when we was looking at Adam Lewin, the founder. Fidelity was in on the chain investment. Who else do we have right here? The other Onyxcoin backers, Visa and Fiserv. And not only that, but they tipping up towards this major players area. And there's JP Morgan Chase right there. And I'm like, man, what in the world? JP Morgan is literally right there with both of these two other players. Like, what are we missing? And then it just hit me. It's like, it's so simple.
It's time to shake the focus up. Sick of being sick and tired. Tell me if you had enough. Yeah, it's Shook's in the building now. We ain't missing nothing. We gon' catch you if they gotta run.
What is good, y'all? What is good? Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another episode. And you already know we ringing that Onyxcoin bell again, man. I've been really looking at the origins of this project and trying to identify what it's doing versus what it originally set out to do. And honestly, I see no reason why it still can't complete the mission. Sure, it's some new projects that's gonna be taking away some market share, but it's still estimated to be over $100 trillion market. So we're gonna jump in the time machine here for a moment and try to make sense of some things. But before we get started, I want to say welcome to all the new subscribers. We've been getting a lot of support over the last month. Make sure you smash that like button for your boy. Greatly appreciate it. With every new sub, it's like our power level is just increasing, man. Like we feeding off each other. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and slide into this time chamber. The Visa opportunity. Is the Visa opportunity still there? So, of course, we know that Visa was one of the top investors in this project. It was the only tier 2 that we could verify in the second round of funding. But the more interesting thing to me lies with one of Visa's blockchain products, Visa B2B Connect. What's interesting about it is that despite the issue we've seen regarding Onyxcoin and these hacks, I haven't found anything stating that this product has ever been shut down. Let's take a look at what it is. B2B Connect is a distributed ledger-based non-card platform for high-value corporate cross-border payments. Let's watch a little 2-minute video on that. And this is public on Visa's website.
Global business-to-business payments are worth more than $120 trillion a year, with cross-border payments making up over $10 trillion of that and continuing to grow. But high-value international B2B payments can be complex, passing through various banks before reaching the recipient, resulting in unpredictable delays, additional costs, and inconsistent transaction data. Banks and corporates need an alternative cross-border payment solution that reduces uncertainty and unpredictability. Visa B2B Connect is an innovative payment network that uses a one-to-many connection to provide the finality, predictability, and transparency that banks and corporates need. With irrevocable, full-value payments delivered to the receiving bank on a consistent timescale. The network is made up of known participants, and sensitive business information is tokenized to enhance security and reduce risk, while allowing direct transfers between participating banks. Visa B2B Connect's unique technology also provides transparency into fees and foreign exchange rates, offering rich transaction data for enhanced payment reconciliation. There are multiple options for implementation and integration, with straightforward onboarding to get you connected to the network that can lower your upfront investment. Deliver the innovative payments experience your corporate customers demand. Backed by Visa's over 60-year track record as a leading global payments provider. Reimagine your B2B cross-border payments with Visa B2B Connect. Available now in many markets and expanding globally. Visit visa.com/Visa B2B Connect to learn more.
Okay, so again, cross-border payments and Visa trying to get their piece of that $120 trillion market. Now, this is from a separate source called Goralino, but they actually have this market valued at $160 trillion and thinks that against the competition, Visa should be able to secure 2 to 5% of that market, valued at $4 to $10 trillion. And we know two things about B2B Connect. One, the service actually launched officially in June of 2019, and we know they were working with Chain on that. Two, FIS, which is Fidelity National Information Services, entirely different from Fidelity Investments, but it's a fintech global payments company operating in the commercial space. They also integrated with B2B Connect. And look at who some of their partners are. The Norwegian Cruise Lines, money. Google, money. Microsoft, money. Amazon, money. Twitch, you get it. But this is from the announcement article in 2019. To help its participating client banks begin transacting on the Visa B2B Connect platform quickly, FIS created a custom integration module, significantly reducing the need for clients to perform technology updates to their existing systems. So it's just going to fit right in. This will help financial institutions around the world quickly access the platform and begin to manage high-value cross-border payments on behalf of their corporate clients. By working together, Visa and FIS are laying the foundation for frictionless and global commercial payments. This was Visa's B2B Connect was actually supposed to be like a competitor to Swift, what Visa's doing with blockchain. But we know it's not gonna end that way, right? And lastly though, so actually three things. We know that B2B Connect was supposed to launch on Chain's platform. And I don't know about you, but I haven't found anything to say that it didn't.
So really quick example, Visa is launching a competitor to Swift. I think there's a blog post today on their blog about the latest on that launch that's built entirely on our platform. And it's only possible for Visa to launch this competitor to Swift because of the internals. And more businesses will transact over Visa's new network in a day than people sending Bitcoin transactions over the last year. It's just factually going to happen. So it's sort of, I think it's not going to be one or the other. I think they're both going to transform, but from different directions. But it's certainly, in my view, inevitable that these sort of cryptographic breakthroughs now being applied to financial services are going to have big changes. And you, as an investor, you should try to figure out how to be long this trend, because like other frontier industries, whether it's AI or machine learning or VR or drones, it's not exactly clear how it all gets commercialized, but it's pretty inevitable that these are the sort of foundational, the seeds of where sort of the economy and the markets are going.
That was Chain co-founder Adam Lewin, and that interview is from 2017. Visa did go on to launch the product in 2019, so stand right here on B2B for a minute. This is something that gets me excited. We know that Onyx protocol can run multi-asset transactions, and at the time in 2019, B2B was looking at high-value transactions, 15K or above, with the primary clients for those being banks, because peer-to-peer still wasn't and is just now barely becoming popular and available. and banks couldn't custody crypto assets. So Visa's B2B was and is still an underuse of the technology. So 2025 regulation could have impact here as well. And actually, if we go to this November 1st news, the B2B product was brought up by the CEO of Visa. During Visa's fiscal fourth quarter conference call, CEO Ryan McInerney noted that Visa B2B Connect, the non-card-based network that is helping to streamline cross-border commercial transactions between banks, has seen a 40% gain in banks signing on to the network, as measured year on year. The CEO also said that the number of transacting banks on the network has gained 60%. So it would seem things are moving in the right direction. Now enter VTAP, which in my opinion is even more valuable than B2B Connect because it introduces smart contracts. Not only that, but it's set to take better advantage of the multi-asset transactions. Now this is where Chain gets to brag a little bit because it figured this out years ago, and that's likely why these other projects wanted to work with them so early on. Let's take a look at Adam Lewin's demo of what these transactions would look like years ago in 2016.
But yeah, so we're on-prem, and we have a product called Chain Core, which is the actual software you deploy, and you can instantiate new networks. And then everyone connecting to the network runs a Chain Core, and it's essentially the database for money.
Got it.
Right?
So here it is.
So
I'm looking at a wallet.
What am I
wallet
showing
is
you?
this?
All right, so this is a demo that I took the skin off. I took the branding off so we could bring it out today. And the basic idea
This looks like a wallet, like the
just looks like a normal wallet, right? Like any
looks like
sort
the iPhone
of
wallet.
That's right.
The Apple wallet.
Now,
I see you have a Starbucks card with 26,000 points on it.
Yep.
I see a Delta Sky Miles.
so you can see
C1
on the
Venture
right-hand
Awards.
side, they don't have Starbucks, right? So
No Starbucks.
let's say we want to hit receive, and they're going to bring up some sort of code. This could be anything, NFC, but we just use QR. And then the left-hand side, we want to say, actually, we don't want to do send. We want to do pay, and then it's going to bring up a camera. And you can't see this on the screen, but I'm actually just going to scan the right with the left. Actually, you can see that. Now, here's the first thing that you'll see that's kind of neat. It says, what asset do you want to send? And the right-hand side doesn't have Capital One, so I'm going to send some Capital One rewards. I'll send 50 of them. I'll hit OK. And that's it. And you can see the Capital One rewards popping up on the right-hand side. Now, what's noteworthy about that is that transaction did not go through some sort of point bank system. These are two different wallets connected to the network, just like two different Bitcoin wallets might be connected to the Bitcoin network. And there's an asset on that network called a Capital One Venture Reward Point. And it was sent from the first wallet user on the left to the wallet user on the right.
Got it.
And if I switch over, if you switch over to my desktop view,
Yeah.
you can see this is the actually underlying blockchain. If you look at this transaction here, you can see that Devin sent Adam this asset ID. You can see they're the same asset ID.
Yep.
-50 plus 50. And you can actually drill in, and this will look familiar to engineers that have looked at blockchain.info, the Bitcoin network. This is just the raw blockchain data. Only here, instead of Bitcoins moving, we're actually moving reward points that were issued by
And that
Capital
wallet
One.
has some type of cryptography in it. It has some type of unique identifier that's not revealed
That's right.
to Visa or to the other person.
Correct. So this is, these wallets have private keys, which are signing transactions. So when the first wallet sent the Capital One points to the other wallet, what they actually did is they have a key on the device, and there's a key in the cloud as a backup. And the key on the device is signing the transaction and basically saying, go into my little box on the blockchain, my account, take some of those assets out and push them to this other. So a blockchain is a push model. There was no, hey, I want to authorize into some master system, drawdown. It was just a peer-to-peer. The closest analogy is, oh, my wallet's over there. The closest analogy is if I hand you cash. Right? Here's $10.
It has a serial number on it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a bearer instrument. In other words, the ownership is defined by control, and control in this realm just happens to be through cryptography.
Now, that was only half the demo, and at some point I might do a live stream where we rewatch this whole interview because there's a lot more here. But as we can see, they were so far ahead of the game. People saying the project is dead. I mean, it's possible, but it looks to me like they just been head down since the beginning. And actually, let's look at another timeline here that makes me kind of bullish with this Visa stuff. So the demo and everything that we looked at was a demo of Onyx Core. It was called Chain Core at the time, but Go figure that the voting and approval for Onyx Core was pushed through literally right before Visa announced the launch of VTAP. Like, I'm just calling out coincidences here. Vote succeeded September 29th and executed on October 1st. And then, ironically, VTAP gets introduced on October 3rd. Oh, and by the way, Visa's other blockchain product launched on chain. Why would they switch to an entirely different platform? It's possible, but in an environment where companies is trying to figure out how to cut costs, right? I'll take my chances on the technology that they invested in building from the beginning to be a product that they would like to see succeed in the end. But you do whatever you feel compelled to do. we know over 90% of these cryptos are going to zero. But for the ones that survive, it's plenty of market share to go around, right? Like, just because XCN, Onyxcoin, or Chain turns out to be successful doesn't mean that Velo and Stronghold can't be successful, right? Like, when you're talking about over $100 trillion market, there's enough success to go. There's enough market share to go around. But before we get up out of here, I gotta bring a few receipts, y'all. I've been receiving a little shade for saying that Fidelity was involved. Apparently, it's a stretch to take one word from the LinkedIn because it could have been a typo that he just haven't removed yet. Even though in other videos we've seen that they received more than the 39.5 million shown on CryptoRank. The other tidbit is that Fidelity Investments is also a private company, so their financial reporting is not quite the same, and this could explain why it was missed with CryptoRank. But I digress. For those who still need a little bit more, here you go.
Here to stay. The blockchain is a true innovation like peer-to-peer technology or the open web or open source software itself. And today I've got Adam Ludwin on the program, who is the co-founder and CEO of Chain.com. Formerly, he was a partner at RRE Ventures, a venture firm out of New York, run by a guy who used to run Coca-Cola, James Robinson and his son, and Stu, a great group over there, have invested in a lot of interesting things together. I know they're particularly interested in the cryptocurrency space. But Adam, you've raised over $40 million from the A-list, NASDAQ, Fidelity, Capital One, Citi, First Data, RRE Ventures, Khosla, I think I mentioned.
There were some, I think, early movers from the traditional financial sector who reached out to us, and there were actually three. I remember all three in August of 2014, NASDAQ, Fidelity, and First Data. And there were actually three. I remember all three in August of 2014, NASDAQ, Fidelity, and First Data. That said, can you come and spend time with our executives and explain Bitcoin? And I didn't go in there thinking I was going to pitch them or sell them on our platform. I thought this is a good opportunity for me to understand, what are they thinking about this new technology? And when they ask me, what should we do? I better have some answer. I can't say, I have no idea what you should do. So logically, when I went and met with NASDAQ, I said, maybe think about, look, you're an exchange. What about people trading Bitcoin? First Data, you're a payment processor. Maybe help people accept Bitcoin at point of sale. Or Fidelity, you're an asset manager. People might want to view this as an asset class to put in their portfolio for retirement savings. So,
and for this last bonus, y'all already know we going plus ultra on this one. For some reason, even mentioning JP Morgan and Onyxcoin in the same paragraph makes people go crazy. Like, for some reason it's thought that it couldn't even be possible. Basically, that JP Morgan is too pinky out or nose up for Chain. Well, Adam didn't think so. Listen to this.
Because disruption doesn't work that way. You don't aim for the system or aim for the man and disrupt the man. Like, disruption follows delight. You have to delight people, create something that's better. The sum of all those users changes the world. Virtually every desktop is now Unix and Linux, but it didn't happen in the sort of direct assault. It happened because it was a better internals that enabled companies to create better products, which delighted users, which ultimately led to these transformations. And so chains, sort of the way we think about how these cryptographic breakthroughs are going to transform, is more along those lines, that by creating better internals underneath a Venmo, a Lyft, a JP Morgan Chase, that will enable better products to be created that more people will use, that will ultimately transform and move us off of a lot of these archaic financial infrastructure.
And not only did he feel that they was working on a solution that was worthy enough, but he was actually confident enough to write a letter to Jamie Dimon. How many other of these project founders did that? He actually wrote a letter to Jamie Dimon like, hey, look, Jamie, you said some stuff about crypto that I didn't totally agree with. I know a lot of it was warranted, but let me tell you what's really going down in this space. So we can call it a stretch on the reason for the names, but all I know is a co-founder wrote a letter to Jamie Dimon, and 2.5-3 years later, JP Morgan had an Onyx blockchain. Just because they have JPM coin doesn't mean they can't use Onyx's services. They've proven they can deal with a stable coin. That's what VUSD is. Most people, in the end, most people using Onyx protocol won't know that they use an Onyx protocol. No different than most people who type in a web address don't understand that they actually just going to a location that's based on ones and zeros on the backside. But that's all I have for this one, man. And as always, we're going to go ahead and end this thing with a question. And this one is an actual question that I couldn't find the answer to when I was looking into this. But why was Onyx Core or Chain Core shut down to begin with? Or was it ever? Like, why did it have to relaunch? And was Visa B2B Connect affected by any of the situations that Chain ran into? Did Visa sneak in a new partner before the launch of B2B Connect, or do they got a hidden one in play for VTAP? I don't know. You decide for you. But until next time, don't get shook. Stay focused. And I'm out.
Picking the right drone company is extremely hard. And what's always been interesting to me about crypto assets is, to a greater extent, maybe this isn't foolproof, but you can kind of buy or make a bet on this being, the small probability, but this being like the thing that fuels the future of this general technology, which is just fascinating.
No, that's a great point, and kind of just build on it real quick,
Definitely.
which is most new, so that's 100% right, super compelling, also risky. You see the sort of the downside of that with people sort of being tricked into all these ICOs. But what's so interesting about crypto assets is that we're seeing like a leapfrogging effect. Just like you see like mobile phones in Africa like leapfrogged landlines, the same is happening in this market. Like we're leapfrogging all the traditional capital market infrastructure and process in this new asset class. So normally a new financial product first is created and sold to a small club around Wall Street and eventually ends up in the hands of retail investors, and then the correction happens. Right. Here, it's actually going the other direction. It's already, crypto assets and Bitcoin has been started at the fringe. Now there are these sort of huge numbers of people that are participating, largely individuals and retail investors joining something like Coinbase. And it's the institutional investors who are now last and looking at it and going, huh. And so it would be a very funny reversal if the institutional guys all jump in and then there's the crash. It'd be sort of like sweet, karma going back all the way to 2007 and 8.
What are all fintech startups basically doing? They're all building thin layers on top of these old legacy, horrific infrastructure systems. Right. And making them actually usable. Like Stripe makes stuff usable. Robinhood and Wealthfront. Yeah. They're abstracting it to make it developer-friendly, consumer-friendly, business-friendly, and that's very valuable. But what they're not doing is doing the sort of fundamental rewiring of the system. Now, obviously, that's our mission. It also means it's a more ambitious, harder, longer-term effort to actually get in there and try to change the guts of financial infrastructure and payments. I feel pretty good right now, the 2 out of the 3.